Hi, I'm Greg with Never a Dull Moment, our channel on YouTube, which teaches you about knives. And we were asked by the Sewindy store to tell you how to use the product you're either thinking of purchasing or already have, which is the Whetstone that they offer at 1,000 and 6,000 grit. So let's go ahead and open it and see what comes inside. And of course, you're going to have the instruction guide. The Sewindy Whetstone is great because it comes with this rubber silicone mat. You can see it's a double-sided stone with two grits, the 1,000 and the 6,000. This aluminum oxide stone is a soaking stone. You will soak this in water to prepare for its use. The 1,000 grit side is the side that you will need to sharpen and set a new edge in your stone. And the 6,000 is going to be what you use to remove the burr and to refine the edge and to polish the edge of the knife. So also inside the package is going to be a flattening stone and a stone that's used for cleaning. At the end of your sharpening, you'll find that there's a little bit of metal buildup as well as some stone buildup called slurry inside, and this is going to be great to remove that. Below the foam package is another stand. It's great because it actually has the ability to lift the stone up off the ground so that your knuckles don't hit the counter. And so when you get these items, you are technically ready to go. Now, if you don't want to use this particular stand, you can put this directly on the counter and it will also not move. So depending on your knuckle height and clearance, you could go in either direction. Now remember, before you go to sharpen a knife on the stone, you are going to need to soak this. So please grab a container of water and completely submerge the stone. You can do it in the base or not. And in doing so, the stone itself is going to be absorbing water. Now, I actually had already used this earlier today, so it's already absorbed water. I will refer to another clip that I already shot, which shows plenty of bubbles being soaked into the stone. And then once you've gone 10 to 15 minutes, the bubbles will subside like what you see here. And now that the stone itself has absorbed water from doing this earlier today, we can go ahead and proceed right now with sharpening a knife. So once you remove the stone and put it back on its base, you're going to want to make sure that you're using the 1,000 grit side. Now, I myself want to show you, so there's no camera tricks, that we are going to be using a knife that is not sharp. So, per my tradition, if you ever watch our channel on YouTube, which is called Never a Dull Moment, you'll be able to learn how to sharpen knives. And so this knife currently is sharp. We want to take a moment that we don't like, and we're going to dull the knife. It's hard to show you that the system works if we don't prove it. So let's go ahead and see. And we'll keep that piece of paper right there. I would suggest that even though the stone itself has already got water in it, you're going to need another bottle of water so you can keep it wet. This is going to create a form of lubrication. Now, this is not a sharpening tutorial per se, but we are showing you how to use the stone. I am going to lay the knife down at my preferred angle. I like 15 degrees. And I am going to take my fingers and press the knife into the stone. I'm dragging the edge along the stone. The stone is harder than the knife. So the stone is removing metal from the edge of the knife. You'll notice if you pay close attention that my finger placement moves. My fingers are actually walking down. And again, if you would like an in-depth sharpening tutorial, go to YouTube, type in a search for Never a Dull Moment, and you would see us use different knives and different products to teach you how to sharpen. So the Sewindi stones are a great way to get into taking care of your regular everyday household knives. I do recommend doing this once a week to keep a fine edge. It would also depend on the frequency of the usages of your knife. This product, aluminum oxide, is the preferred product for synthetic whetstones. So you'll see that I'm pushing this part of the knife away from me. Even though it's coming back, I'm more pushing on the way away from me. And it's no pressure as it comes back, and I'm moving my fingers, taking the next section and pushing. And after a while you push and you kind of ride back and you push and you get in a rhythm of moving your hands. You can see material on the stone that is a combination of metal being removed as well as some of the particles of the stone being released. You'll notice that since the stone has been soaked and absorbed water, with just a little bit of spray, it is holding the moisture. We have not had to re-lubricate, but if you did think the stone was dry, you could have either soaked the stone longer or have your water handy. You might be asking yourself, how do you know when I'm ready to do the other side? As I push away, metal is being scraped off. And as it scrapes off, you're going to feel tassels. I feel it all along the edge. It's literally as if the metal is folding itself over and it's sticking up. Now that I feel it consistent, I feel it here and here and here and here because I took the time to rub metal off everywhere. I'm able to keep it in the same hand and turn it over and now do a pulling towards me motion. But I actually recommend giving the knife to the other hand and doing it the exact same way you just did. It does take some practice. Find your edge, push the knife away from you just like you did before. You will notice that my fingers are not on the edge of the blade. If I do rub my fingers on the stone, I will be sanding skin off my stone, off my hand. So make sure that your fingers are riding on the knife itself. Push, ride back, push, and make sure you bring it up so that way you can tell the tip is making contact. If it has that kind of a dry sound and you don't see particles moving, add a bit of moisture. Try to remember to use the full length of the stone. That means it'll take less energy for the amount of strokes. You'll do long strokes, so there'll be less strokes, less amount of time. You should normally be spending about the same amount of time on each side. It is very easy on the second side to feel that metal hang over the edge. We refer to that technically as the burr. So now that I do feel metal over the edge, I need to remove it. The metal is sticking up like this, so I can do a motion of just running the knife full length. That helps to pull it off this side. I can then do it again on the other side. We refer to this as a stropping motion. We're trying to remove the metal that's on the edge of the knife. Now, to refine the edge more, you have the 6000 grit, But I did want to take a moment to show you that just doing the 1000 grit side is going to already make your knife sharp. So even if you wanted to just stop here, after you remove the little bit of metal, you could take that piece of paper that you had earlier and you already have a sharp knife. Now that little bit of catch you might hear, that's telling me that I could do a little bit better job of removing the burr. And so that would be the reason that I would want to turn the stone over. Now you'll see that the stone is somewhat clean on this side. One of the things that I would say, if you can get it set in there properly, make sure that you've got this on there properly, is try not to bring particles from the original side. The particle side of the other part of the stone on this side would change the fineness of this. If you can find a utilitarian house towel, you can see that by doing this, your regular decorative towels would suffer. So I do recommend either some paper towels to be handy. And if you can remember on your knife to go ahead and remove the particles so you don't take them from the other side. So now that we're getting the stone ready, the stone itself is clean. We remove the particles of each edge of the knife. We do want to go ahead and add water to this side for lubrication. We're going to lightly, you can already see metal particles are being removed from the edge. Again, that stropping motion, I cannot explain to you how little motion, like the weight is of my hand. You can see that any metal that was on the edge is coming off. And now that we've done the one side, again, so light, making sure that the knife has full contact. Think of this as polishing. We're not actually trying to sharpen the knife anymore. Now, a more advanced technique would be to take the blade, put it into the edge of the stone, lift the knife slightly, and push it into the stone. Do it again. So the knife is traveling into the stone, pull across. And as you do the other side, you can also pull it towards yourself. This is called edge leading strokes. And those little pieces of metal have now been removed onto the stone. The pressure is tremendously lightweight. You can tell that this stone will last you for a very long time. We do, before we go cutting any piece of paper, we don't want to add moisture to the paper, so let's just go ahead and remove any metal. And now, if you could hear, or I should say lack of hearing, the silence of that cut shows how sharp it is, because loud cuts are not very sharp. So with just two different steels, my wife will tell you this is sharp.
That's pretty quiet.
And the fact that the tip of this knife will equally do this. We did this on just the two stones. It was already sharp on the one side. Now that we have refined the edge, let me go ahead and take a moment to show you how to finish cleaning this stone so you can prepare it for it's done. Remember earlier you took the time to add water to the stone. The stone is now full of moisture. If we were to put it up wet, it would actually eventually crack, and then we would be purchasing a new one. So let's just go ahead and take the time to dry it. And it's going to have to sit out for a while to actually let the water kind of evaporate from the stone. If you want to, if you had a lot of particles built up, we really don't have it on that particular session, but let's say you were to sharpen multiple knives on the same day. Take this, and you can see that it's starting to change color. It's starting to remove particles. So one, it's going to reflatten. Two, it's removing any of the particles that might in between any of the abrasives. You can hear it just traveling so nice and light. That lets us know that this is clean and even. And again, you can do the same thing to the other side if necessary. Remember, it's not always necessary. I don't think this side's really that dirty, but for the sake of showing you, once again, you would be able to, you can see that the particles are being freed up. Again, dry it. I would take that towel, clean off the extra moisture, put the whetstone down so it can dry, let everything else dry, put it in a knife safe place. Later on this afternoon, you could put it away back in its original box and use it as often as you like. So again, I'm Greg with the channel Never a Dull Moment on YouTube. We have done several videos for the Swindy stores. They've always made great products. We're happy to once again to show you this particular stone. They have other more elaborate stone combinations as well if you'd like to check out other products on their store. We appreciate you checking out what we've shown you today. Enjoy your new product.